Hey everyone, coming up at the end of the season of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, it is my intention to do a review of the whole series. And I didn't want to do this every week assassination that a lot of people do, who basically is their bread and butter. They just attack the show week after week and finding every little detail and nitpick they can find. I don't see the value of that. I know that is some people's, like I said, their bread and butter. This is what their platform is based upon, and I don't want to be there. I want to give an honest and well thought out review of what I thought of the show. And I made a comments about the first show, and then there was something about the second show that struck me. And I made another, but even then I was like, I don't want to do this every week. I just want to talk about this particular thing, and I moved on. And so I want to do that. But what this video is about is some of the things that I've seen week to week. And usually, depending on the platform you go to and who is posting, after each episode, so like today, and after Paramount sends out their social media advertisements or press junkets about the upcoming episode, there's an increase in posts about Starfleet Academy. And like I said, depending on who it is and what side of the fence they're on, it usually goes one way or another. It's, man, this particular character, and it's the people who are pro this show are very character driven. This particular character is so fire, or I really like him, or she did something great, and someone will say something about woke, or something in regards to a political or social kind of point of view. Like, you kids think this, or something to that effect. And immediately it turns this to a kind of like an insult kind of thing. Oh, you're just old, wake up boomer, that kind of thing. The other side is somebody will say, I don't like this show. I find this offensive or bothersome or whatever it is they don't like. And then somebody will say, I think the show's awesome. It's the best Star Trek ever. Then, if you don't like it, you're an old boomer or something, oh, you blue hair, blah, 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 blah. So it's this back and forth thing of, I think something, you think something else. And if you think something different from me, you're wrong. And that really bothers me. And it bothers me because recently I've been looking at videos and listening to experts on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's usually long form content about our inability to think critically. I know a lot of people have heard a lot about this and seeing all this gray hair. I know it's going to be some yeah, you get them, or some eye rolls, because people kind of feel a certain way depending on where they are in their age. But there is this kind of thing of, what I think, whatever it is right. And what you think, whatever it is wrong. And beyond Star Trek and, the controversies regarding the characters, the situation, all that kind of stuff, let's look at the big games halftime show. And people are, it's one thing or the other. Either you watched Big Bunny and you absolutely loved it, and not only that, it is a watershed moment in American history. It's an open love letter to immigrants, on and on and on. Or you watch the Turning Point All American show, and that's back to American values. They talk about God, and I'd rather have this. There is nothing in between. In addition to this, and I gotta aim at a Turning Point fandom, it's this just baseless facts on how well it did. I mean, I see somebody post a TMZ uh, account. I think it was on X, and it said that you know only 17 million people or something around that watched the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny, and like 140 million people watched the All American show. And it's like there's absolutely no truth to that. And so what I did, which is a element of critical thinking, is that when I saw that, I went to the source. This guy said TMZ said that. I went to TMZ's X account. There was nothing about that. I mean, it wasn't even the same logo or anything. So this guy is saying this, and not only that, people are responding to it as if it's fact. Oh yeah, you show them, America's a tired of this kind of stuff, blah blah blah. And it's like there's absolutely nothing to back this up. And on the other side, it seems to be very emotionally charged when you talk about particular characters. I see characters like the character of Sam, the holographic character, and Jaden, the Klingon, were both favorites of the fandom at large. Like, oh, he's so this, and they're so brave and everything. And I'll say my thoughts about that for the review. I'm just talking about people's response to this. And if you don't like them for any reason, their response is very much angry, And I don't know, that scares me as an American. We see a lot of things happen. I'm reading a book now about Civil War, and one of the things, her name is Barbara F. Walters, if you want to read it. One of the things she warns of is the power of social media to just spread not only lies and disinformation, but just, just craziness. And, she uses not just the American experience, but her 20 or some years of looking at civil wars around the world and how they started, post the 20th century. And it's frightening. And we're walking lockstep into that because we get into our particular corners, along with this inability to make our own decisions. If somebody posts something that we agree with, we just assume it's fact and run with it. Both sides. And so her concern is that this is something that can be used to whip people into a frenzy and has whipped people into a frenzy and led to civil war. And, there's a lot of other factors involved. If you get a chance to read the book, I know that's not trendy now, but, read the book. And what's interesting is that, what we think of when a civil war starts, the poor, disgruntled people uprising and, clamoring for justice. It's not where civil wars start come. It's from people who feel like they have been disenfranchised and their power, perceived or real, has been taken from them. So that's a huge leap from Star Trek. But I'm trying to make a parallel, not necessarily saying that one is leading to the other, but a parallel in thought that I feel so strongly about this fictional thing. And that's fine. I know people have had, throughout my lifetime, I'm 57 years old and I've grown up with Star Trek. There's never been a moment in my life where there wasn't Star Trek. And I know people are very moved by it for various reasons, And since The Next Generation, this has spread widely. The first Star Trek did well, but let's face it, it didn't look good. And it's fairly dated. And for that matter, Next Generation was dated. But, as it aged, something came to replace it. There was Deep Space Nine, then there was Voyager, then there was, on and on. And people have taken that to heart. And that's fine. I think that's fine and everything. But I also think that's fiction, And so people to get so locked into a particular character or an ideology that is being, propagated on the show or whatever, and then to not only project that into their own livelihood, but to say, you must feel this way too, or there's something wrong with you, I think that's a little harmful. I think we need to have a national moment of a deep breath and say, it's okay if you don't like what I like. That's fine. It's okay that, you watch the show which I have, and you don't like it. I mean, people do get online and just regurgitate what other people say. Oh, they're woke, they're all gay, they're this, they're that, the other, right? It's all liberal nonsense, blah 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 blah. Bad Bunny is bad for the country, and they're just repeating what they hear somebody else say. But even if they do that, we, all of us, need to just say, okay. I mean, that's fine. That's what people are really getting to the point. I have had more than one encounter with somebody who I've disagreed with. They say something, this is a fact, and it's not a fact, it's an opinion. And I say, well, that's not true. Well, you don't have to be in my post. This is my post, and I say what I want to. It's like, dude, you posted on social media. You broadcast this to the world. If you just want people to only respond to things that you like and agree with you, then make that stuff private. But when you put it out there in the world, I got a right to, just as much as you do, to interact with you. And if you don't like me, that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That doesn't mean you got to block me. It just means you can say, okay. People really need to develop that ability to say, okay, A, you think A, I think B, and that's fine. But to start attacking me and coming after me, that's not cool. And you can think whatever you want to about this. It's just my opinion, my 2 cents. But I really do believe, more than anything, is that we got to pull back a little bit to stop having our opinions and our identities so tied into social media and things that are broadcast on social media, which is usually works of fiction. Because by definition, works of fiction aren't true. No matter how much they reflect reality and your ideas and everything, they're not true. The characters act a certain way because they're written that way. Bad Bunny, and for that matter, the Turning Point USA's concerts was designed to serve a purpose, to entertain a particular segment of society for monetary reasons. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that neither one of them had any kind of merit or sent any kind of messaging, but you got to keep in mind too that the bottom line is that they got to pay for those lights and cameras and people working, so they got to make money, and that's what motivates them. If you like it, that's fine, but you need to be also able to say, but this is not necessarily reality. That's all I'm saying. So with all that said, whenever the series is over, I'm gonna do a review, and so far I haven't been very impressed by Starfleet Academy. So it's probably going to be a fairly negative review. And if you feel it necessary to call me a boomer or to tell me that, touch grass or whatever it is you think you need to say, keep in mind I've watched every episode, and just like you, I have a right to form an opinion. And I'm going to share it with you. And if you don't like that, you are more than welcome to scroll to another video. But if you want a thoughtful opinion, not just somebody yelling boomer and woke and blue hair, whatever DEI, whatever the current buzzword is, that's supposed to gaslight people. If you want something that doesn't have any of that, I invite you to listen. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. We can have an intelligent conversation about that. But that's entirely up to you. So hey, take it for what it is. I'm coming across a certain way because I am concerned that we're going down this road that just, it's my way or no way. And it doesn't have to be that way. What do you think? Comment below. I will not yell at you. I promise.